I think that's another thing that entrepreneurs don't do very well, is to monetize the time that they spend with clients and see whether they're getting enough value for that time. My name is Omobola Johnson. I am the senior partner TLCom Capital, which is a technology venture capital company. Prior to that, I was the pioneer minister, very proud pioneer minister of communication technology in Nigeria. And prior to that, I was country managing director in Accenture, a place where I worked for 25 years. I think it comes from my background as a consultant, because we charge our clients based on a per hour basis in that time. And so it was very easy for us to monetize our time. And I think that's another thing that entrepreneurs don't do very well, is to monetize the time that they spend with clients and see whether they're getting enough value for that time. If you're spending a lot of time with a client, and at the end of the day, you're not getting that much revenue from it, but you're spending a lot of time in managing the relationship, having meetings and all of that. If you cost that time and you see how much you're being paid, then you can see whether this client is a loss maker, which basically means that I stopped doing that kind of work, or it could be a loss leader, where in the sense that I would do this, I know I'm not going to make money, but I'm doing this because it's going to open avenues for me in other areas. So you do that work. But again, it's something that entrepreneurs don't pay attention to. You just get this big job, and you say, oh, fantastic, I've got this big job and I'm going to do everything to make it really work. At the end of the day, if you cost your time properly, you may find out that big job, a lot of revenue comes in, but a lot of costs also go out. So that's, again, cost to acquire and cost to serve are two very important indicators that I think entrepreneurs really need to focus on in this environment. We live in a high-cost economy. Infrastructure is costly. People probably are more costly than they should be because of the quality of talent that we have, but the fact that we have to pay because there's not a lot of talent to go around. So we live in a very high-cost environment. And so for any business, you've got to watch those costs very, very carefully. And that's because your revenue doesn't always go in that upward cycle. Like I said, it's kind of that yo-yo where, some years are good, some years are bad, until you get to that sustainable level. And so it's not something that entrepreneurs do because their eye is always on the top line, so on the revenue line, and they don't really look at their costs very well. So that's the point I was trying to make, really. And it's something that I learned even that is more important in technology, where you're trying to acquire hundreds of thousands of customers. You've got to figure out how much does it cost you to acquire a customer. If you don't know your customer acquisition cost, you can sacrifice profitability because you may be getting lots of customers, but if they're costing you a lot of money to acquire, every penny that you earn from them actually goes into your costs, and so your profitability really suffers. So that is very, very important. And not just the cost of acquiring customers, it's the cost to serve, infrastructure, people, capex, every penny that you spend. You've got to evaluate it against the money that I can make for every penny that I spend. And it's something that I think entrepreneurs in this environment need to be really, really focused on because of the high cost of the environment and the cyclicality of our lives, quite honestly. Elections come, things go down, something happens, things go down, there's no FX today, things go down, so you just have to be watching that all the time. But the only way you can, while it's good to focus on your revenue, is to watch your costs so that you can actually pull costs out of your business when you see the revenues decline, or you see something that will cause your revenue to decline, you pull the costs out, and your profitability still is good. Entrepreneurs in Nigeria or in Africa need all the help they can get, whether it is capital or mentorship or networks or whatever it is. They need all the help they can get to be successful because this environment is very, very difficult. I would say that because I'm not an entrepreneur, but I see entrepreneurs struggle. Not because they're not smart or bright or innovative or creative, but because they're swimming uphill all the time. So anything we can do to remove the obstacles from their way, to make it easier for them, and that is what also leadership is doing, I think is very commendable. Well done, Austin.